Identifying.
Standby one. Let's go. Let's go.
You're about to experience the uncensored conversations, stimulating wit, and the thought-provoking wisdom. Bold, raw, and uncut. Right now, on the LanceScurv Show.
I just want to say that being online has been, for me, such a wonderful journey. I've met many people. I've crossed paths with some famous people, what the world would say is famous. Not that that means any more to me than the people that I meet that are not famous. In actuality, when I meet people on the street, on the curb, in the gutter, those are the interactions that are more impressive to me because these people have nothing really to prove. And it's not about the worldly assignment whose name is up in lights. I want to give a big shout out to my dear sister Sean, who we had an exchange of ideas and concepts on the video that I did on threesomes. And she misunderstood me and what I do, I guess, I believe. No hard feelings because we had our exchange and it pretty much was never hostile. But I appreciate the fact that she expressed herself. And for me, that's the biggest thing. That's really what I'm going after when I speak to people. Now, I just want to say that, she made a comment that I might be looking to exploit somebody or I'm looking for attention or validation. No. As a matter of fact, I get a lot of attention. And if you know me personally, you know that in my lifetime, from single-digit ages, I've gotten more attention than most people have or had. It would have to have probably 10 lifetimes, to catch up on. So it's nice for me at this point in my life at 54 years old to sometimes be a spectator. I'm not always that guy who will be in front of the mic and be the one who's speaking on this and that. I have that in me, and I'll have that in me until the day God calls me home. But in my ascension, I'm comfortable with whatever transpires or comes out of the things that I do. For me, it's, again, a journey. It's not about hits. It's not about gaining anything because Lord knows we don't gain anything here on YouTube for the most part. Honestly, there were times when I was making $300, $400, $500 a month on the videos, right? But after the YouTube ad boycott, that pretty much, is a thing of the past. But the thing is, before I even made that kind of money, which really came in the last year, I was doing this and I wasn't making any money, so it can't be money. Actually, I spend more out of my pocket on equipment, on programs, on the maintenance of certain things. Your computer goes down or breaks and it has to be fixed, or you catch a virus, or you need another tool for sound effects, or I just purchased another camera, another Rebel camera, by Canon, that I can keep with me to get some really great still shots. I don't want to depend on a cell phone to get my shots. It's more convenient, and cell phones really take some really great pictures, but nothing beats a camera where you can adjust the settings in certain modes. Yes, you can take those cell phone pictures and put them in a program and manipulate them, but when you're starting off great, that's just an example. That's not even a brag thing, because this is what I do. These are tools of the trade. I need a tripod soon. I got to dig deep and find a way. Things are lean right now. But I'm working, and I work multiple jobs. That's no secret. So I'm enjoying myself. This is a hobby for me. This is not a life or death thing. There are people out there who I know, they straight up lie. They say all these different things. They want to amp themselves up. They're living in their own world. They need that attention. Maybe they didn't get enough hugs when they were a child, or didn't have a proper relationship with their mother from young or their father from young, and they have that yearning on the inside. We're all motivated by different things. And when I speak to people, this is something that becomes evident for me because, we all can come up. Let me just say this as an example, that you can talk to a family and that family may have 10 kids, and you'll get 10 different versions of childhood from each of those children. That's just the way it is, because our perspectives are unique. Our reactions are unique. The way we are undergirded on an emotional level is different. So it's going to come off as different. So one person may see a video of me speaking to someone and say, "Oh, you're exploiting." And someone else will say, "This is a deep conversation." While one may get it, someone may not get it. While one person may say, I can't do anything with this to build on. Someone else will say, "Oh my God, I thought I was the only one like this. And I was on my way to using drugs as an escape because I could not talk to anyone about what I'm thinking or feeling or doing. And by me hearing this, which most people say it's filthy and decadent, it let me know I'm not the only one. So I can move myself out of this easier because I'm not alone." We speak about moving toward holiness and trying to raise people higher. Well, let's speak about Jesus, right? Didn't Jesus hang out with the drunkards and the prostitutes and the thieves? Well, was Jesus a prostitute, a drunkard, or a thief? No. Well, what was he doing around them? Well, I don't think he just came around them and said, "Hey, I'm Jesus. Don't tell me anything about what you're doing because this is the way. Take it or leave it." No, I think he went up and, if he was around today, like in the flesh, pull up a milk crate, on the corner and sit next to someone who's stone drunk talking. And he had to laugh with that person. And he saw the pain on their face and felt what they were going through. Or that prostitute who was out there, she might have been just finished turning a trick, wiping the side of her face. And there's Jesus. And he had to hear what she had to say and hear her pain and feel her pain. The thief, he might have had stolen goods. "Hey, your name's Jesus, right? Hey man, you want to buy this TV?" You know what I mean? Maybe he said, "Put the TV down, man." Maybe he didn't say, "Give it back." I'm just saying if Jesus was around today, right? They didn't have TVs back in those days. But whatever the equivalent was. All I'm saying is that it doesn't mean that you agree with someone while they are currently in their decadence. It doesn't mean that you're going to judge them, because I won't do that. Judging is when you don't know. Judging is when you do not know. What I like to do is speak to people and let them share what they want to share and give them the platform, no matter what it may be. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk to somebody who obviously is just hell-bent on just straight up decadence. And of course you can't stomach certain things. When you start to speak about the emotional or the origins of why you feel that way, of course there is a level of entertainment, because on YouTube you are competing with so much. So it doesn't mean you're going to lie. But if I have a restaurant, I'm going to season up the chicken right so that people come back. I'm not going to say, "Well, this is good chicken, but I'm not putting seasoning on it." They want seasoning. They want flavor, right? So we're not going to go over the top with just decadence for decadence sake. But I have the ability, the God-given ability, because of my upbringing and my influences, to be able to sit down and speak with anyone. And I can speak their language, because pretty much I've been there and done that as far as observation is concerned. I've never done drugs. Never done drugs. But I can sit down and talk to a crackhead, right? I can sit down and talk to a heroin addict. I have an understanding about what it is that they go through, right? And I want to say something on this on another video that I did speaking about crackheads. Someone made the comment that, "Oh, you're hung up on what they do sexually. I don't understand why you push the issue." Well, in that particular video, I knew this man from 2002. This is 2017. That's 15 years. And while it may have seemed that I just ran into him and just met him, He didn't remember me, but I remembered him greatly, and we spoke about a lot of things. And I wanted people to see what it is that you go through, but some people just don't get that. Some people are in their own world, and even if it appears to be a righteous world, we turn our nose up at these people who we're supposed to even just talk to and see what's inside of them. How are you going to help them unless you know what's inside of them? Is it exploitation when you go to the doctor and he asks you what are the symptoms? You just don't show up to the doctor and the doctor have a pill waiting for you. You just walk up and for some reason by osmosis, he knows what's wrong. Let the person speak about what their symptoms are. Let the person speak about what their pains are. And you can assess them to know how to help them. It's not exploitation. We'll come to the doctor's office and let me exploit you. And of course, that's a private exchange. But on YouTube and other social media platforms, yes, it's public, but when you have something that's private and you share it publicly, somebody out there may have the same symptoms. And say, oh, okay. And when you make a righteous comment on what it should be for that particular person, they will go back and see it. It's just not on me to do this and be this man of God. And I love God. I love the Creator. I love the system that automatically works each and every time as I'm involved in it. I love the law of gravity because on that windy day, that mango that I can't reach, it's swinging and I'm right under the tree waiting to catch it. Now, if I'm on a 10-story building, that's not a good thing. I'm standing by the edge. I don't want to be there because the same law of gravity that gave me that juicy mango might make it nice for the flies to come fly on me when I'm a bloody mess from falling. You see, that same fire that heats my home and cooks my food, that's my friend, is my enemy when it gets out of control. So these laws are put in place, and I thank God for the laws he put in place, and I thank God for being God. I call him God. You may call him Allah. Someone else may call him this or that, whatever. Yahweh, whatever you call him. That's what it's all about. But to me, communication is very healthy. We live in a society where social media now rules. Everybody bows their head to the cell phone when they can't bow their head to the Creator, but the cell phone, the smartphone, has them dumber than ever before. I always say that in my videos, and it's the truth. And I use it as a tool myself. But on top of me using it as a tool, I'm out there in the street all day. And I go out in the street even when I'm not working and driving that bus. So I have a close proximity and communication to the streets every single day, 10 hours and 16 minutes a day. 10 hours and 16 minutes, y'all. I'm picking up the drunk while his pants are filled with piss and he can hardly walk, right? And I got to smell that. I got to see that. I got to hear what comes out of his mouth. And we have many Christians today who will point fingers at somebody like me for not being a man of God, but they wouldn't go out in the street and talk to anybody. Now, yes, that's my job, and me dealing with these people, that comes with the territory. But all those who have listened and watched the things that I put out know that I go out on my own time and walk up to strangers with the camera that I paid for and the folks who donated and helped me get that camera, and we get that footage and bring it home. I don't know what these people are going to talk about. And when they're talking about what they're talking about, I roll with it. I don't go to preach to anybody. I go out and get the specimens as they are, like any person who's a budding scientist in school. He doesn't go to a certain type of bug when he captures and says, well, don't walk that way. Well, we watch what happens and we see that in the chain of command, we'll have another lizard who might eat that animal. Then we learn that, okay, that's how these lizards survive out here. You're observing. I'm not trying to change anything. If I'm learning how to be a chef and how to be a cook, when I'm being taught, I'm not going to say, oh, Mr. Chef, I think you should take this and shake more of this, because now I'm interfering with the process and I won't learn. So therefore, I have been blessed to have a job, which job means just over broke. And that's really part of it. I'm not ever going to be dependent on one source of income. We all know that, but I say job, okay? But out of that job, it gives me in my day, as opposed to, well, I happened to walk down the street 2 weeks ago and saw this happen. I saw an accident that almost happened that would have really been nasty. This guy was coming up Kirkman Road doing about 100 miles an hour, and he went straight through the red light. A car just went through the other way, and one was about to come through, and thank God he was looking, and he stopped, and this guy went through the light. Now, what if that guy was on his smartphone peeking down at it when this guy ran the light? Oh, and I mean, he missed him by 2 inches. 2 inches. It could have been half an inch. It looked like that. But I'll even say just 2 inches. You know, I see the fights. I saw a police officer messing with 2 drunks that it looked like it was harassment. I don't know what the situation was, but the cop was out of order about his body movements and the way he was pushing and shoving these guys. And it was like he was just trying to start something. I saw that when I was at a red light at the intersection of Orange Blossom Trail and Central Boulevard. I see the guy who sits at Washington Shores in his wheelchair with a couple blankets over him, and he's been sitting there for the last few days. Don't know how he eats, don't know when he gets up and goes to the bathroom, but he used to ride the bus, and I used to strap him down in the wheelchair as you should, and the smell that came off of him was, you just don't want to know. And for some reason, he was banned off of the bus. What is reality like for him? What if I went over to him to talk to him? Am I exploiting him that maybe he might share a bit of his reality and how he found himself in that position? So someone who's riding high right now will say, you know what? I don't want to get that way. I need to change what I'm doing now so I don't make that mistake or bad choice. Because we all can fall, you know. And I'm very aware of that. So much to the point where most of my time really is not on social media now. I am preparing. This is the time for it. So many of us are not preparing. We get on YouTube, we get on social media. We're very comfortable. We don't have a clue as to how we're going to eat if these supermarkets don't have food anymore. We don't own enough land to be able to sustain the food that we need and create the food that we need to sustain ourselves. We're just screwed if something happens. You know, what would happen if there was a catastrophe, or say there's an economic collapse, far worse than what happened in 2008? And the police that are out there, they're not coming to work. They're staying close to their homes to protect their families. And all of those who are out here who have a propensity to steal and rob and rape and murder, the people the cops are supposed to protect us from, protect us from, because there are too many cops out here who are murdering us. But if these people were allowed to run free and take what it is that they want and steal and come up into our homes, and many of us are calling for the police and they're not there, what are we going to do? What are we going to do when you go to the bank and you can't pull out any so-called money? And then when you do have money, it's worth really nothing. Huh? So there are a lot of things that we have to worry about. And I don't like to say worry, but I'll correct that. It's just a figure of speech. But there are things that we have to concern ourselves with that are far more important than just hits on a YouTube video. Look, I play that game, right, where I assess what I do and everything like that, but it's really not about this attention thing. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for the support and the direct messages that I get from you guys, I probably would have been off of this whole platform already, because there's so much that I have to do in my personal life. And I do love doing this. And it's only because of the support and the love that you show me why I continue, because I don't think that I'm all that important to the world like that, where I'm some mover or shaker and every utterance and every syllable has this great spiritual weight. I just share what I see. I'm a mirror. And if you can get something out of that, so be it. If you can get something out of that that I shared, fine. We're all on a journey. We're all passing through. We all will be gone to another level one day. And in actuality, I do believe that this is somewhat of an illusion. Life is real, but on the bad side, it's an illusion, meaning that the lust, the carnal desires, I want to have the most cars, I want to have the most houses, I want to have the most beautiful body, so I'm going to go to the doctor so he can cut me up and rip off the fat and add bigger breasts and bigger hips, or I'm going to take a stronger grade of Viagra, I'm going to take male hormones so I can have my pecs rippling. And come on. What happens when this is all over? How would that have benefited you? That's where I am. Right now, I just want nature. I want to align myself with nature. I don't want to take myself out of nature and being in alignment with it. I want to move toward that. And when I say nature, I mean God's nature, God's system, not man's system. Because right now, I'm very much bored with man's system. My bags are packed spiritually, and I'm really prepared and ready to go. I don't want to go. And I'm not talking about social media, y'all. I'm talking about this life. And no, I'm not suicidal. But I've seen enough. You know, my cup has run over. I understand what this level is all about. I don't know everything. But I know enough to know that this thing here, it's not much to it. Man's system, man's world. And that's why I can relax and be as calm as I am, more so than I have in recent years. I used to be gung-ho with so many different things, and now it's not as important to me. I mean, really, that you get to that point, and I'm glad for the growth. Because think back to when you were 12, 13 years old. What was the most important thing to you when you were 12 or 13 years old? Right? It changed, didn't it? Fast forward 5 years to 17 or 18 years old. Let the hormones kick in. Now you're in your early 20s and late 20s. Things change. 30s, you think that's where you're going to be and stay mentally, right? But then you're in your mid 40s. Now for me to be 54 and look back and realize that all those things that I thought were so important are not important, I'm glad that I can see that, because now I'm relaxed, because I don't burn with this desire or feel less than because I may not have this, or feel better than because I may have certain things. There's a lot that I have on the inside of me that may not be material. And I'm glad that it's that way, because I don't want to be a fool with things around me and can't see the beauty of a beautiful sunrise, the sun setting, the reflection of the sun on a lake, laying down on my lawn chair in the yard, or in a state preserve reservation, reserved area, state park, and watch the bugs go around, or see an exotic animal. I'm cool. I'm traveling light. For the rest of my life, I'm traveling light, and I'm just experiencing life, and it's really a wonderful thing. I have nothing to prove. That's why, for me, like I said, if it wasn't for the folks who I get down with here, whether they're visible or not, a lot of people here who support me don't show their face. They don't have social media where you can click on it. Let me see who this is. Subscribe to me. Subscribe to me. You can do whatever you want, but it's not important to me. So it's not a burden. I enjoy it. But if anything, I want to go deeper. So when I speak to someone, I will talk to anyone who has a story to share, and we will have conversations. It may not be an interview, because many have misconstrued that also. Well, you did this interview and you talk so much. Well, this is a conversation, 50-50. And most of the time it's 25-75. I may talk 25% of the time, but it doesn't matter, because I'm dealing with that person directly, because I didn't have to upload many of these things. See? So if you see something that you can get something from, click on it. If you see something that you can't get anything from, move forward, because maybe somebody else can get something from that. It's like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet where you pay one price and you can go and pick what you want. Now, there's a line, right? This next person may pass over the mashed potatoes because they don't like it, or they had enough of it. And mashed potatoes might be your favorite. That might be the only thing you want to pile up on your plate. Well, go do. Find your level. You go on YouTube, you see things that you may not like, you don't click on it. Find your level. Seek out the things that can help you or you can forward to help somebody else. And so with me, I can speak about spirituality because I am a spiritual being. I can speak about education. And although I never had a degree from these so-called higher schools of learning, whatever I know, pretty much I'm self-educated or learned from somebody teaching me because I'm a high school guy, right? But I don't low rate myself because of that. As a matter of fact, I feel better being that. So I share my experiences, and I encourage you all to share your experiences, whether it's here or in another platform. But share it in its most pure form, in its most raw form. And those who can't take the realness of it, then they need to check themselves. Because this is what it's all about now, being real. I can't deal with the whole superficial thing. Well, Lance, you are a man of God. Well, I farted like 5 minutes ago. Am I still a man of God? You know, you could be a man who loves his wife, but some chick's backside caught your eye for a second. So now you're not a man of God anymore. Well, I'm kind of scared about saying that about myself. I am a man of God because I'm looking at all these other so-called men of God and they're banging other men's wives and raping little boys and doing the Eddie Long thing and all. Really? So let me not say what I am, but let you see what I am. Because I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I am this, I am that. And the first time I slip, you're ready to give up on God. Because he's a man of God and look what he did. So that means God's not anything. No, I can't hold that up. I can't uphold all that God encompasses. I wouldn't dare try to go down that road. And many do so they can get their money and they can get their attention. And you know, even in its purest form, that position is not an easy one. Not in this world the way it is today. And I'm not going to say all pastors are bad or everything, but it's not my job right now. I'm going to share what's in my path. I'm going to add on and share my experiences. And let's have some real talk because there are too many people out here who they don't have anybody to talk to. They're lonely. All they can do is go on YouTube. They become social misfits. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And even while we go all through all these strange idiosyncrasies that we possess, the one thing that goes that we can't get back is time. Time. I know it can be very distracting that we're going to live forever. I believe we will, but not on this level. And there's certain things that we have to do to be able to do that. We have to earn that. You just can't sit back and be caught up in this worldly system. You're going to stay with it. And if you stay with it, you must know that it will perish. Although the planet will go on, the worldly system, this world will perish and die. So some people say, I don't think the planet's going to go nowhere. I believe it's going to be here. The physical matter will be here in some form or another. But this order cannot stay. We are too minuscule. We're too stupid. As much as man has made it so many advances. Look at the smartphone. Look at the computer. Look at how the cars are. Cars are now computers. But at the same time, look at us in the human condition. We're murdering just as much. We're putting guns to our head and blowing our brains out just as much. We have more mental sickness than ever before. We have more people out of control who can't control their sexual desires. These things are pumping images and things in our head. Now we want to act on it. So we're way out of control, even though we have made advances on a technological level. That is not the litmus test on how far we've come. Man has advanced. No, we haven't. We can't even submit to divine law. And if you really want to know, we can't even submit to man's law. It's there and we trying to break it. And we're stepping all over God's law because God's law is higher than man's law. So you break man's law, you already know that you're crossing God. And I'm not saying man, the wicked version, but the laws of righteousness about not stealing and killing and robbing from other people and cheating and all that stuff, right? So when it comes to what's divine, so don't put a label on me. I'm just a dude like Jesus who walks amongst the people in the street, the drunks, the prostitutes, and the thieves, talking to them, maybe trying to influence them a little bit, but letting them tell their story, because you know what? Collectively, no one man or woman is going to do it all in this society. It's a collective effort. See, you can be as good as you want. You can have a bucket that looks so perfect, but if it has that one hole in it, that bucket is rendered useless when it's time to collect that water. So I don't mind constructive criticism. I welcome it. But now we have to join hands together, and where I'm weak, you need to be strong. Where I'm strong, you may be weak. It's the overall now. Because at the end of the day, this is simply a hobby.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LanceScurv.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under LanceScurv.